First you are faced with a tiny hill, then once you get over it, a slightly larger mountain awaits your traversing. How can we get the world to know the reasons for the difference between the various religions without having some ignorant nincompoop accuse us of bias, prejudice, or intolerance? They say we have to approach these issues sensitively with kid gloves. I am yet to discover the purpose of a faith lived out in secret. It seems to me to be useless and meaningless unless it's lived out in the open plains. I don't have to ask the question no more how we came to be on this planet. On this earth I'm sitting on right now, contemplating all the wonders of the world as our blue dome spins, orbiting around the sun. Could you be the one who never leaves me or forsakes me? Is it true what they say about you, that once my soul is awoken to the possibility that my broken heart can be reassembled by you, that my life will be completely transformed? You never promised we wouldn't have any more trouble in our lives once we decided to follow you. Only that you would be there to give us travelling shoes, helping us with the journey, fortifying us with all the necessary equipment to survive the battles of our existence. If it wasn't for you, I'd be completely lost. I know I need to stop comparing my present to my past. There are things in my future yet to happen, only your eyes can envision, seeing many miles and moons ahead of us. Trapped in the ever-passing now, I don't feel comfortable sitting in judgment over others or hanging out too long with this oppressive silence. I need noise to distract me, a whirring outside my head to switch my focus from the murmurings inside of it. They are making it harder for people like us, shoving us to the back of the bus, forcing us to be treated like second-class citizens, treated like pariahs only fit for the fire, glimpsing the life of a gladiator for the cross. How much of our lives just gets spent staring at dripping paint drying on our walls and ceilings? It doesn't make a guy feminine to want to get in touch with his feelings. Neither does it make a woman masculine if she struggles to shed a tear at the appropriate time. We put each other in boxes far too easily. We suffer as a result of it. I don't want to be singing the same old song all the days of my life. Woe is me, I'm on an island stranded, taking more risks till I get caught red-handed, with sticky fingers in the cookie jar. Who is going to be my conscience when I can't convince myself I've gone too far? Long enough to stop me sliding in the muck again. How long will it be before I'm returning to the familiar chorus of regret? Perhaps I ain't seen nothing yet. Is this onslaught gonna ease up on me? Is it possible the devil is attacking me with such fierceness, cause the fact I continue to breathe is a threat to his very existence? Oh Lord, I've been far too resistant of your voice calling me to pursue you relentlessly. Though the world may attempt to tug me in another direction, help me push against the tide. You are always walking and talking with me, like you did with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden in the cool of the evening breeze. I'm down on my knees, begging for mercy. If I died tonight, where would I be? I wouldn't want to take the risk of having any unrepented sins hanging over me. This war is unrelenting. Sometimes I feel so terribly inadequate, attempting to eradicate all influence of the enemy from my life. If only the world could see the joy that comes from knowing you and experience it for themselves. If they did but give you a chance to romance them, to dance with them away from the furnace, heading towards the glowing embrace of your ever-waiting arms. I didn't always wrestle with thoughts I hated, taking up residence inside my head. There was a time when I had little to no responsibilities. I was a happy little kid, Somewhere along the way, I lost my smile and didn't know how to get it back again. I think I took a trip to Neptune. I swing like a pendulum between wanting to hang out with people and needing my own space, or rather convincing myself that I have to be alone for the sake of the preservation of my peace of mind. I have more than a few reservations about letting anyone loose inside the chambers of my skull, scared of what they might find up there if they have a poke around. It scares me to think whether I'd still have any buddies if my homeboys and girls only knew the things I'd thought to prevent myself thinking about them more on previous occasions, and those which I don't attempt to rally against. All protests swamped by the sheer awe of a gorgeous feature I couldn't ignore. Slay the creature of habit that once was me. Let sin no longer find a habitat beneath my skin. You delivered demons into pigs, and I know you can emancipate me. You caused the sun to stand still. I know you can heal me from all my diseases, the sickness of selfishness, forcing me to stick my fingers in my ears when others plead for my attention, and a little demonstration of Christ's compassion ever at work within their midst. I wish they'd know you never let us go it alone. You haven't flown the coop just yet. We might need to regroup, develop a combat strategy in the war room of our prayer closets. If I know the triggers which set off a chain reaction within me, causing my feet to stumble down the alleyway of filthiness to that ramshackle house of ill repute, I would do best to refute my nemesis when he comes calling, attempting to convince me that wrong is right and vice versa, that something can't possibly do me harm if it brings me so much pleasure. Yet I know that's not true, 'cause nothing pure or healthy induces guilt in me, only in the sense that I wish others could experience the freedom from chains and the joy of remaining in his will I have known intimately. How does this wishing for liberation translate into solid activity for me? What is my contribution to increase the population of paradise? Is it solely this process of digging around inside my mind, hunting for treasure I am yet to find? Inspiration breathed by the Holy Spirit, the result of fumigation of my inner being. Blink and you will miss the opportunity to share the gospel. It could be gone in a minute, or reoccur when you least expect. We are under suspicion, even within our own camp. Those you'd expect to lend a hand or be there when depression comes down heavy on you like a grand piano just got dropped off a 500-storied apartment onto your head. This is the wake-up call I needed, the result of all those who interceded that God might intervene in my life and come in between me and my stumbling blocks. I need a lot of humbling. I sure hope I'm done ego tripping. This investigative nature of mine can be redeemed by Zion's pyre refined. May that old reckless demon worshipping me be dead on arrival at the gates of Paradise City. Lord, I know you're doing a mighty work in me. I'm done shifting the blame off me. If we all but wore a cheerful face, inspired by the Messiah, changing our heart's desires into his, our faith could always thrive in isolation. But it was never meant to be that way, exclusively. Shut up away, little lights, burning bright inside ourselves, hidden so nobody in the world can see. We are called to be influencers for Alpha and Omega in every sphere of society. Though we may occasionally have to agree to disagree, we must always stand firm on our convictions. Can you show me the necessity of imposing restrictions on others? Some of us are only friends each time we sneak beneath the covers. I'm discovering more about you every day. your character, nature, and personality revealed to me. In your inability to stand the sight of sin long enough to gaze upon it for a single second, and also in how it pains your heart to look upon your son nailed to that cross, bearing the weight of all the world's woes on his shoulders. Keep me on my toes. Let me be restless and zestful with zeal for your house. It's eating up my insides, tearing at my bones, laying my life down before your holy throne. You are the reason why we run this race of life. To gain a crown of glory, only your love will suffice. Nothing can ever compare to it, unlike apples and pears. Your heart is quite dissimilar to ours. We find ourselves unable to love without imposing conditions or including strings. We attach them to our affection. We find this almost a subconscious, intangible, inescapable action. Nothing can separate us from your love or sever the passion you have for your children. You are feverish with excitement to show us round your home. My dome contemplates your power and majesty. In every hour I remain awake. I wait upon your whisper to reach me. How often do I block you out with all the noise and distractions of this world? How much garbage do I stick between my ears? I'm sorry for interfering with your plans to build a peaceful neighborhood. My dear adds to my guilt. Yet it is not the sole reason behind it. You find its origins in hell's pits. I do not spit upon your prophets. I care more about pleasing your heart than making profits. Stirring up a ruckus seems to be almost automatic for me. Let me rest under your wings. Salvation comes, bringing springs to my step. Derail my thought train if I ever find myself getting off track with you. I know I need to quit slacking off. Making you know, has to be top priority for me. Let me not try to usurp your authority. I know you can't take away the memories of the things I've done and seen, but you can help me build new bridges and roads over them in the back of my mind. I'm starting over again. I don't want to waste my time. It's a brand new day, an occasion to celebrate the greatness of being alive. It's all because of you that I continue to carry on breathing. Oh Lord, please exorcise all these demons from my premises. I don't want them hanging around. They're bothering me too much. Oh, why won't they let me live? I don't mind if my eyes are bloodshot from not being able to sleep in peace, as long as I don't have an anvil of guilt weighing heavy on my conscience. No matter how much time passes, I can't get rid of it. See me ride into the sunset in my caravan of courageousness. Will I find you on the other side of dawn? It's only in you I stumble across the motivation to keep on trucking with a humble heart, sucking up the mud that's slung in my face, swallowing a spoonful of concrete. We've got grit and determination. That's what keeps our nation intact. It's you exhaling courage into us, reinvigorating us when we get down and wonder if we'll ever have the willpower to get up again. Rule and reign over us, Lord. You who we adore, whose cause we applaud, the reason we are fighting so the whole world may unite. Leave the ashes of their crippled, cracked past lies far behind, as distant as the dusk is from the dawn. I fail to see exactly what they're getting at. Those who aren't against us must be for us. I'm a bee lying in the sun, pouring out my thorax. They say, for I'm just forewarned, but no one told me about this oncoming storm. My antenna are twitching frantically. Why are so many friends and family switching loyalties in judging your deity by their experience? Just because you didn't answer their prayer in the way they expected doesn't mean you don't exist. You are not a remote control operated being. We ask with the wrong motives, so we waste our breath. Or there may be a spiritual blockage, preventing the solution to the problem from arriving at the doorstep of our lives. We take comfort knowing in the end you win this tournament over ownership of our bodies, souls, and also our minds. We don't join in the team of the fallen ones. Those stars that chose to jump kamikaze-like out of their place beyond the clouds. Imagine them crowding around a cluster of wings. As far as we know, no blood was spilled in the prevention of the coup d'etat. A mutiny of seraphim, prevented by our Lord, whose glory stretches far from heaven to earth and then beyond our capacity to imagine, further than the roaming capabilities of our creative juices, only flowing to a certain point, unable to wrap our heads around the concept of a God who loves us even when we mess up, who fights battles with his breath, who doesn't need to get his hands dirty to put on a show, a miraculous display of his wonder-working power at any given hour of the day. For all those who have gone astray, his love will bring them back again. Utilize us like jars of clay to do his handiwork when our souls are in disarray, when we find it hard to trust and obey. Just because we are fallen sinful creatures, we slip into the same old litany of bad habits, telling ourselves there's no other method of being us, forgetting we've been forgiven already, so we don't need to sweat monsoon tears about what's done and dealt with on those planks of timber carved up to mark the greatest, most significant sacrifice that ever took place on God's green earth. New life, it comes from him alone. For our sins he can atone. Let's lay our lives before his throne and live like we're his daughters and sons. He can make our lives more colourful and vibrant, children of the King who won't let us die in silence without getting a chance to heed the warnings. He does send us on a frequent basis. Do we see the angels hidden in the eyes of dirty faces? What happened to the goodness and graciousness we once proclaimed to be our culture? A heart of hospitality that welcomed the stranger. Was it the first bomb that dropped on the free flow of cash from government coffers that stopped pouring out on us, which provoked a reaction of dissatisfaction amongst our once so merry populace? If we all had to work for a living, I'd have doubts and misgivings about the certainty of my future, but my God hasn't let me starve yet, even though in the eyes of some I'm a drain on the economy, a cultural vulture. Coup de grace, preceding our eyes meeting our Saviour's face. I don't know why you allow anyone to suffer or be born with deformed limbs, but a far better question is why do you allow me to continue to breathe, focusing on the blessings you permit to shower down upon my head? Not when you rose yourself from the dead, stirred to the consciousness and wakefulness of a glorified body which I will one day have, though it may never be quite as resplendent as yours, the one my heart and soul forever worships and adores. On the advent of my departure from this planet, will I have accomplished the true purpose you intend for my life, contending for my heart, befriending me even at my most depraved and badly behaved? When I feel my skull is about to cave in from all the pressure built up within it, I turn to you, my comfort, shelter and rest. Strong tower, mighty warrior, under your mind-bogglingly huge wings I rest. In you I find hope and refuge, powerful creator, silencing all debate within me about my identity. A man is not determined by the callous state of his hands, but his inner determination never to be swayed by the weight of the world, bending like a palm tree twisted in the breeze at the slightest provocation that arises to ruin my day. It is not in your nature to slay, just to permit it, but if you struck me with a lightning bolt, I could quit this scene becoming increasingly nasty to behold, getting me ill at setting me ill at ease, struggling to pour water on hot coals. I thought my ship had reached the shore, but just got perched upon the shoals. Things have gone from bad to worse as difficulty increases, and we run out of reasons to continue. Oh, this barrage of demonic forces attempting to rampage and ransack the fortress of our psychic chambers, polluting our Holy Spirit temples with a plethora of custom-made abominations of desolation, culminating in my desire to vacate the scene of my vacuous torment by falling on my sword, thrusting the blade deep within my toxic brew-riddled, formerly hell-bound pores. I was never the best at discerning the tactics of the enemy with expertise. In you I find a whole new lease on life, cut loose of the devil's leash, reinvigorated by your blood, incinerating all memory of the foolish imbecile I once was. My cranium was empty till you filled it up with your joy, peace, and love, stressing over whether I'm making the right moves or the wrong ones. More concerned about giving you fist pumps and getting noggins to bump, watching booties pop and jump all around. Locking and loading, love is both bomb and gun, ticking and booming, exploding with love heart, spraying syrup, peace, sweet affection in every direction we turn. We were only meant to live this life once, never meant to return to this planet unlike you did. Your angels have been watching over me even before I was a fully formed kid emerging from my mother's womb. I will never see my brother's tomb unless you count kindred in a fully formed unless you count kindred in Christ's spirit. You eclipse all my current concerns with the forthcoming fulfillment of your promised eternal reward. It's hard for us to wrap our medulla oblongata around the sheer depths of your affection for us, or encapsulate the agony full of sick you endured upon that cross. Your crowning achievement was at your lowest, most humbling, humiliated point, when you were debased with a bloodied face, never too embarrassed to be seen with us, making your seat among the scornful before you beam yourself back up beyond the clouds to your Father Nature's house, unreachable, while we remain here trapped in the physical realm. We are waiting for that last battle when every nation comes against just one, utilized for the salvation of mankind. Though she may make a tainted, imperfect bride, she is still your daughters and your sons. How much blood must be spilled before you show your face round here again? I know you didn't completely abandon us. You left behind your spirit to help us dodge what attempts to cause us to err or hinders us. Will we survive the winter of our discontent, as leaves in autumn fall to tree branches, gut-wrenched laments? While summer rains fall on the plains, my steps remain springy with promise, a stringy sapling emerging from behind the shadows of yonder hibiscus. We stretch our brain cells on the rack, inflict wounds on them over such inconsequential trivialities. These days they've got phones you can operate solely using your eye. People mock your way of life, yet barely bother giving it a try. The more we suffer in the here and now, the less we will cry in the long run during the longest portion of eternity, when our physical eyes are lidded shut for the very last time by compassionate hands, not wishing us to bear an undignified, shocked expression on our visage, with our tongues hanging out our mouths, like my dogs did when she used to lick the windows of Mum's car, drawing sticky patterns of streaky shine all over it. Imagine it like the pastor said I was truly double-minded, split in half by good and evil versions of myself, opposing army officers. Is this truly the reason I don't seem able to escape from this cycle? I'd give my life to break or pouch off if I could. I can't move on or stay the way I am when I push you away from my tear-stained face, attempting to replace you with false gods of girls and possessions was the vilest mistake I ever could make. More to you than just part of the rank and file. Like Napoleon, you know every part of your body, fighting in mass alongside you, but unlike him, there's life beyond your Waterloo, and there was never even the merest seed of corruption in you. Only a mustard-sized one of faith that made a mountain do a kamikaze somersault into the sea. If only we could forever be rid of all these criminal-like tendencies within us. Yes, you remove the desire to do evil, cutting us off from all pleasure found by participating in it. Like a clitoris sliced off a vagina, we are just going through the motions. There's no true lasting joy which can ever be discovered outside of you, Lord. I'm awed at your stunning display of creativity in a myriad of locations. Though the enemy meant devastation for us, you caused him to sow in glee and reap in tears. For us this is reversed, redeemed from the curse of the law, waging war to claim our residence in your pure heart. Our natures become interlinked. From your living waters we do deeply drink now. Don't just sprinkle us with your love. I am eager for more drops. I don't want to ever stop praising you with all I've got. Save me from that hot fire that burns down below, not far beneath the bowels of the earth, but somewhere none of us can reach this side of heaven, nor would we ever want to endure the pain of separation from you. Most of us hate broken promises and nitpicking worrywarts unless they save our skins from crispy fryers. I've got to stop misinterpreting everything my folks say, finding fault where it was never meant to exist in the first place. I guess you could say it was an oversight of mine not to back off when I knew I'd crossed the line. My self-righteous indignation refusing to back down, redeem the pleasant years I wasted by tearing others to shreds, reducing them to tears, producing a reaction of anger and hurt I often intended to create. Letting them know I wasn't gonna take what I labelled falsely as terrible treatment lying down. This was my means of fighting back, never being the sort to resort to physical violence in a futile attempt to solve my problems, which only served to dig my soul into a deeper, darker hole. I lose myself like a furious, starving immigrant from my true nature. Famished for a peanut butter bar coated in hardened chocolate, once dripping in its liquid format. Ah, my insides hazmat. If you get too close to me, you might just become scorched by the fire and brimstone, coming rumbling and raised up my ears, eyes, mouth, and nose. Gratefully staying away from my head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Lord, please don't let us come to blows again. Haven't we had enough wars causing scars for one lifetime? Our once placid tongues, dripping acid rain, eating through our epidermal layers, reducing us to skulls and jars, getting played like a guitar by my own highly strong haphazard method of resolving conflict, leaving it undissolved, just buried neath our skin, forming lumps and bumps, or fruitlessly swept under the carpet, till what we push under the floor crushes through the ceiling, removing our protection from the monsoon's drenching grip. I would slip into despair were I not equipped with a power source beyond myself, more than a cosmic force, but the very word that gave this universe life abiding within my flesh right now. Learning how to be his kid is a lifelong struggle worth travailing over. There's nothing more amazing than being chosen by Jehovah to fulfill his purposes. Yet our freedom has been purchased by his blood. Why was it so hard for us to get the point of rules and boundaries? We were forged inside your foundry, found on your doorstep, and you took us in. Without you breathing air into our lungs, we'd all be floundering. It's easy to stay ungrateful, yet not such a simple task to wear a mask of disaffectedness when we contemplate your direct impact on our lives, and your abiding presence ever with us. You don't possess the kind of mind to ever leave or forsake us. If we were in your shoes, we'd probably let you rot and perish in your sin. But no, you cherish your whorish bride. You were helping me discover the purpose behind all living things. Is it a result of the fall of man that every creature consumes one that's smaller than him or herself? Until we reach the opposite ends of the spectrum, the tiniest and smallest creatures imaginable, who are both like us, all consumed by decay, who like we must obey your word without a moment's delay. If we know what's good for us, and we often don't, that's why we constantly need you, Jesus. If I surrender completely to your will, were that feat even possible, does that mean the enemy would only win victories and the lives of my friends never me? Potentially so, but I have to act on faith, not just merely let it stagnate within my limbs, where it won't remain caged anyway, being as it is my ticket to paradise, my transportation module from this planet, working in conjunction with the marvelous mystery of your grace, to bring a smile to my face every morning when I wake up, knowing I can take confidence, assured by your word you ain't going nowhere in a hurry. Though I'm bleary-eyed and weary of this world I live in, I know despite the abundance of missed opportunities in my life, there's plenty golden ones I've seized and squeezed down to the very last drop. I've got the cream of the crop. You compensate for every loss I suffer in my life, even when I breach what is commonly known as protocol. If I can't doodle a moment for you, using my rattling fingers, lips and teeth as substitutes for pencils, crayons and pens, let me take a quick snap, please forgive me for my back chat. I know you should slap me 7 ways to sundown for ever trying to switch loyalties and ditch you as sovereign. Shoving your throne and crown to one side. What a fool was I, thinking it was ever up to me to think that I might cast you out of my life, and still you found your way back to the centre of my being. It's freeing, this knowledge of you, hidden in the eye of the beholder of all things, kept both private and displayed in clear view of the public's tricky, unreliable sight. Using my papers to follow the flight patterns of birds, the sweetest sound I ever heard was the constant reminder of your love. As my time on earth draws to a close, indisposed, do you suppose you might find something beautiful and worth dying for in my life? In this cut, I'm done getting up people's butts about the mutts, like notions flowing in and out of my mind. Back on my grind, it ain't cool to be cruel or unruly, just chill, stay in Jehovah's will. You will find your jetpack launching you out of awkward occurrences when you dip into his whip for your peace of mind. The weapons of our warfare aren't the carnal sort. We rely on you completely to support all bases for our morality. Acting as we've been taught to be, we will never abort our plans to follow you, Almighty. Though I may be a little flighty, allowing fantasy to take a hold of me, carry me up above the stars, then fling me up against sharp cliff-face rocks. I could understand the ones I love looking daggers back at me when I refuse to wipe my tears or yank up my socks. It took me ages to figure out the difference between the left shoe and the right. I spit this truth, 'cause the world needs it, so I don't give a monkey's tail if they find me rude or polite, so long as I keep heaven in sight, failing to settle for what's right. It's not hard to see, You're the only one who was ever successfully able to direct my steps away from danger, whether I'm in the company of friends or strangers. Unsure whether there's greater pearls of wisdom to be discovered in a whale-sized portion of noise or silence. I guess it all depends on what you do or don't say, as much as our frenetic, eager beaver-like activity. Tear down this damn wall and just let your love tip on me. A cacophony of Brussels sprouts that suddenly came gushing out her snout. Mama always used to say, garbage in, garbage out, facing about within myself over the right course of action to take, wide awake to the possibilities of all that I could be. Well aware that I've got options, even though the world thinks I'm out of my tree. So by all rights I shouldn't be given any responsibilities. It's far too dangerous to approach me. I'm way too risky to hang around with my long-clawed butterfingers and 2 left feet, attempting to hold on to my sanity. Clutching this tiny bag of marbles as I sit pretty frightened in the cleft of this cliff face. Kept safe in God's palm while the angry storm rages all around me. Sometimes someone's pretending to be Christian, sometimes he's not even playing the game of carving a deep impression in the hearts of those in a position to offer him a golden handshake, leaving him set for life so he can leave all his financial burden and fears of his years ending in ruin behind, going from rags to riches and back again, not having enough cabbage to manage, barely hanging on to the green you've got, tiny crumbs snatched from your hand by a cheesy mouse of a taxman. What little we've gained, dealing with the stress and the strain of daily existence. Haven't we all been puzzled at some point in time about where exactly our next meal is coming from? I can tell you this much, just like babies, it didn't come from a stalk, unless you stabbed one to death with your knife and fork, and grilled it up on your simmering hot plate. You know heaven ain't gonna wait for us to quit procrastinating before Christ returns. It's so fascinating how we always act this way, putting off until tomorrow what we could have, should have, would have done today. If only we weren't so prone to distraction. I didn't spare the time when I had it on me. Ready and available, the space to be creative, the freedom like a sedative, offering peace, exploring all the nooks and crannies inside my head. So much for those useless contacts. It's like people don't even want to make a fast buck these days. They're either charging too much to use a studio or not caring enough to bother with the details of puny little people's lives who want to work with skilled musicians in order to deliver a professional result an audience member might consider worth listening to. If only I knew the name of that one who had the gear and shared my embarrassing moment with the world. I've choked worse before in and outside of my living room. I forbid myself to meditate upon those terrible moments when I don't deliver the results I demand from myself to offer my public, sharing with them only the best quality. That's what I aim for, but occasionally I fall short. Some might say more often than not, it's been a while since I got them all bouncing in a way that bodies can't resist. The boogie beast overwhelming them. I aim to produce that feeling in them again. If the beats are right, they can cover a multitude of sins on the part of the MC's flawed delivery, flawed by the power of the Almighty flowing through me, giving me these beautiful flowers for the parishioners to devour. Crushed into ear candy, let my voice be a sweet-smelling fragrance to your nostrils. Use my rhyme skills to pay my bills. Maybe not, but let it be good enough for you nevertheless, even if the world wouldn't spare a simple tuppence for it. Was the real reason you were reprimanding me for talking about a life I didn't live myself? 'cause you felt convicted by the company you were keeping in the village of the damned, in the lair of the zombie wolves. What is gonna convince you to come back to the cross? How empty, shallow, and meaningless your life is now. What is it that convinces you this is the way of the world? Just because the world goes that way doesn't mean you have to be its shadow. Seems like you're up a creek without a paddle. You can't drag yourself back out of that stream. Oh, mate, who was misty-eyed after she spied the horror. The scariest thing was it resembled herself, staring in the mirror at what once was a happy little elf, now shriveled into a weathered old crone. I hate to drone on about the fact I'm not coming back to the way I used to be. I said that's about visiting the same country twice, and look at me, seeing those same faces again. In that familiar place, my home away from home, I could visit 1,000,000 times and never get sick of the scene. Those lovely mango trees, bursting with juicy goodness, making this possum boy salivate at the prospects of devouring their sweet plump ripeness. The more I try not to be what others disapprove of, the more automatically I seem drawn and pulled towards it. Some may find something to celebrate in me, others only something worth denigrating. Throw your stones, they boomerang straight back in your face. Kids who live in glass houses should learn to use a little more grace. Some may choose to only concentrate upon the good things that occur in their lives and not the bad. God has been watching over us even before we were little lads and lasses, when we were in our mamma's wombs, and ever since then, till the day they rinse our tombs to keep them pristine clean, to stop mould forming round the edges, as if our temporal home isn't vacant, like we would ever care about that, as hopefully we all watch down from heaven. Though I know not everyone is gonna make it up there. Sorry, universalism. That's why we've got to go about destroying the schisms of the enemy, making a clear display of unity and integrity. If not for the truth in us, what would we be but lies and shambles, shadows of how God would have us breathe? I love the way you remind us of things we thought we'd forgotten about ourselves and others as well. Sometimes it can be annoying when we bring it back up again. Those teensy weensy details, some would rather we kept hidden in a locked tea chest under our beds, or buried deep within the sea where no one can see but the harmless eyes of octopi and seahorses. On the ocean floor I make my home when doors are closed to me eternally, yet the only one that counts is that pearly gate that opens swinging with its twin to welcome God's child within. All my foes have been vanquished, though for long we were anguished by the dismal deeds we distributed to others' yards. In the form of repeated formulas of habit, we fail to see the monsters in ourselves, yet spot them in the irises growing in facial guard and eider downs of everybody else in town. Why is finding fault so fun and a fast route to profit? Almost as much as being a doomsdayer, ringing that Armageddon bell for the lost cause of keeping economically afloat. Who cares if we're in the black or in the red as a nation, as long as our hearts are locked safe in the arms of our sweet Jesus? Don't sweat it if you don't have enough to pay the bills. We chase after those cheap thrills as they kill our purity. Not just unashamed or unafraid to be myself when I'm surrounded by the company of angelic Jesus imitators. Why do I start panicking? Getting paranoid, paralyzed by fear. Why do my knees start knocking together whenever a master standing deliver? Why does this stage frighten me so much? Why am I terrified by the touch of my heels elevated up on that platform? You would think I wouldn't be such a bundle of nerves. Why doesn't it just come naturally? What's up with my chattering teeth? Fingernail biting, reacting nervously. It's not like they're gonna shoot me down with anything but the bullets shooting out their eyeballs. Retreat this area like a sacred space. Careful how we approach it, taking it as a solemn duty, even though we may carry bags of humor along with us. Taking them out our loins and pushing them out our mouths, where our heart gets trapped. If it isn't stuck openly displayed on our sleeve, bleeding and pulsing, throbbing at breakneck speed, and my two chicken or lily liver to stand up and deliver these sovereignly crafted messages. How can I articulate or demonstrate the ability you have given me, demonstrating and placating, appealing to all manner of tastes simultaneously, is not impossible for everyone but those resting in the bosom of Elohim. What is it that makes me start quivering like the foundations of a building when the earth starts quaking and the ground starts rumbling like a hungry tigress? Flames erupting from volcanoes, mistakenly ascribed dormant, a little more active than they first imagined. I don't mean to be a stumbling block to anyone. The moon follows the sun in its sky-bound sentry duty, digging on a cutie pie whose heart is off limits, 'cause I let that opportunity slide on by. I shouldn't pay any notice to her. If it wasn't for her devotion to the one who made skyline and ocean, I wouldn't give her the time of day. If she asked what it was, and I possessed a watch, and didn't use my phone that's always dead 'cause I continually neglect to recharge the batteries, flat as my jokes, squished like pancakes or soda cans underfoot, flipped in is a script I deliver, happy to have a quiver full of kids. I need peace like a river in my soul, but it stays away from me, while these petty jealousies keep me livid. Irate mental states turning my mind feverish, incapacitated in the extreme. Feel like my light is fading. Why was I too perturbed to wading past my ankle's depth? Freshly brewed coffee keeps the rude words out my speech. See me calm and well rested. That helps me practice what I preach. Save me from hypocrisy, especially when my life's a beach. It becomes too easy to imitate the thorn instead of the petal part of the roses. Dispose of me. Depose me from the throne of my heart if I ever deny you the right of kingship. To have kinship with the world is to make myself an enemy of God. So I always remind myself whose squad I belong to. You bring down everything that exalts itself above you. You snap the locks on my box, we try and shove you deep within. My bones are calcifying, putrefying, no denying. My breath was supplied for the cause to love you, 'cause you use me still despite my flaws. Serenity is obtainable at any time of day, thanks to you. Even in my insomniac, maniacal delirium, induced consciousness, there's a river of blood coursing through my veins, and every capillary in me screams praise to my Redeemer, for he lives in me. He launches my soul into orbit. He is a tourniquet that binds up the wounds of the enemy and those who do his bidding on purpose or by his sleight of hand, tricking them into thinking they are operating out of their free wills when truthfully they are merely responding to the promptings of sin, disguising itself as impulse and instinct. So much of our identity is locked up in what we do for a living. The one we choose to love, or whoever is willing to receive us with forbearance and tolerance, is the best we can expect someone to put up with us and deal with all our nonsense when no one else would. 'Cause only they knew how to deal with us and calm us down after years of practice. Remember when y'all were in the same boat? Burning the candle at both ends, tightening your belt, aiming to maintain a grip on a hope that isn't fleeting. Yet there are forces attempting to delete it non-stop. As soon as we see that flame of faith rise up in us, the truth has been suppressed for far too long. I act like a man possessed, when my rhyme flow is strong. But the spirit in me is a good and not an evil one, part and parcel with the maker of the universe. In fact, this being was there at the beginning of creation, hovering over the waters, watching over Adam's sons and Eve's daughters. Am I fit for this task, worrying about whether you call the qualified vice versa or both? People, I like my way or the highway. But unless we're talking what's the route to heaven, in this world there's plenty of room to embrace diversity of beliefs and opinions without being petrified over losing our salvation. We are instigating a war against the enemy for sure, for the sake of all these soldiers who have abandoned their post. Their future's getting burned like toast, and they don't even realize. They think they are more realistic than those of us who still use the ballistics as Alpha and Omega every time we approach the microphone. See how hollow they are, like emptied out shells, denying the existence of God and hell. Yet when somebody dies, you had better believe they suddenly possess wistful notions of heaven, flooding their psyche. And when they're in the foxhole or vixen pit, very few of them, if any, will be calling on themselves for special delivery from the jaws of the hungry young cub to grab its dinner on the run. What does clean even mean these days, when someone isn't crucified or even mildly persecuted for possessing a potty mouth? Yet when one of us takes a stand for righteousness, we get shut down, locked up or fined. We were designed to survive persecution. You said you wouldn't give us more than we can handle when the situation gets hot like a candle. We count it all joy to suffer for the sake of righteousness. Oh Lord, I wouldn't want to be one of those ones who blasphemes or denies you, as much as I doubt I am capable of surviving torture without wanting to lash out in anger, yet alone cuss or inflict pain upon those villainous henchmen of hell, commissioned above me past breaking points. I hope that I wouldn't respond in what I consider to be a natural way, but tap into the gigantic strength of you inside of me, as you have enabled me to do before, in far more tame circumstances, like comparing a wild lion to a marmalade cat trained to use its kitty litter and respond on command to the opening of a can of lukewarm sardines. Lord, let us all hold up under the pressure. We see how they are trying to separate church and state by hating on your love. The nameless horror submerged in the back of your glass eye, entangled jam sandwiches. It's not a pesky thing to have a conscience. I never thought that I was better off simply ignoring it. Did I convince myself that I was showing love, that my sole motivation was more innocence than self-gratification? But I am such a slave to my imagination, allowing it to get the better of me, watching as it takes me over completely, competing with these wrestling feelings, already deciding before the action has taken place, making an agreement with the enemy. How can I cancel his assignment if I have already committed a deed in my heart? This act was premeditated. Call me spineless, a cowardly chicken, or just another lonely dude wrestling with the fact this is the closest I might ever come to a living, breathing relationship. You may get what you paid for, and you may pay in more ways than you bargained for. They say be careful what you wish for, because if you get it, you just might live to regret it immediately afterwards. How can I even think about sinning straight after church? They say a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. I've known days of plenty and days of lack, but all of the time, every step of the journey, Jehovah Jireh has got my back. I've known providing for me anything I could ever possibly need, making sure I never starve or skip even one meal by choice. Never lacking for a food, even if my stomach remains rumbling for a little while. I can find a reason to smile when I look into the eyes of heaven. In my God, there's no guilt or guile. If I could but be free from all the vile intentions inside of me. I'm not kidding that I want to snap these chains as much as I come scurrying when the devil snaps his fingers. I know I possess a choice. I've spent too long following the wrong master's voice. Is it any wonder I'm so conflicted when I find myself sitting on the fence over these decisions that could result in the putrefying or purification of my soul? I tell myself my only choice is to obey, that there is no other way. To avoid the inevitable conclusion of my life in torture, the chamber of horrors awaits. Do I really desire the exchange of temporary pleasures, giddy rush, swapping it for a little momentary pain, resulting in an eternity of guilt I can't remove from my conscience, no matter how much time passes? Has the devil got his grip on me? Did I slip into the sea? Could I find a better travelling companion than a lifetime supply of bitterness and misery? It's a mystery to me why all these people keep on passing me by when I simply want to speak to them. It's like I'm a shadow, a ghost being. I don't even exist as far as they're concerned. I can't seem to go a day without blowing my money when it's burning a hole in my virtual pocket, slipping into the stream of electronic blips, chuckling at the gulps of pastors and worship leaders. At the quips of pastors and worship leaders, eavesdropping on scintillating conversations, acting like I'm the centre of the action, like all the world revolves around me and I'm the one garnering all their attention, instead of just being the oft ignored garnish, shoved to the side of your well-varnished plate, left to contemplate the rest of my life alone. What if you never pick up the phone and I'm just fooling myself that we ever have a hope of being something other than a fascinating pipe dream, even though I never touched a bong? Why is it when I look at you it feels like smoke's filling up my lungs? Why do you have that effect on me? 'Cause I can't forget you even if I try. You are far too easy for me to access. Though I see you taking pics with other guys, I would be lying to myself if I thought you never pursued any relationships outside of me, unless you just play with them online like you do with me. But what we have is real, and the rest of them you are just stringing along, 'cause you have to make a living to live like a princess. See, you're so priceless. I don't know why you're cheapening yourself in the way you talk about yourself and treat yourself. Honestly, I'm no better, 'cause I still struggle not to see you as a sex object, my little pot of honey, always available for the taking, even though in reality you're locked away behind iron bars. You're trapped on the other side of that glass case. I can look as much as I want, but I can't touch any part of your body, not even the slightest stroke of your fingers as they brush against mine in the most casual of greetings. Happiness is so fleeting, though I try to seize it with both hands, taking the bull by the horns. Even if I manage to finalize and finagle an agreement of some sort out of you, there's no guarantee you will actually follow through. Just like my religion, it requires faith to trust you and believe that you will keep your promises to me. But if you give me what I want, is it truly something I need plaguing my mind? You can grind me like peppercorns, twisting and turning, till then I am sprinkled on your plate, waiting for you to come along and cook and eat me. I know that you'll treat me kind, and when we're old, you'll give me peace of mind by never ever leaving my side. Could you cleave to me, comfort me when I'm grieving, when human interaction is something I'd rather put in the too hard basket? I don't know if you can handle me when I'm getting angry and screaming, when I'm crying waterfalls of tears streaming down my cheeks. I know I'm supposed to be the strong one in this relationship, but I'm not sure I can make it through the week, sweetie pie. So can you hold me down when my spirit is weak and dry? I can deal with your potty mouth as long as I know you're not gonna stray. I don't see either one of us flying to the other one. Miracles can happen if we only believe it's possible. Can you spread your wings and fly to me, baby? You can make me come out of my shell. You know we gel so well together. We get along like a house on fire. You are my heart's desire. I wish I could make life easier for you. Sorry for acting sleazy like all those other dudes. I won't apologize for getting cheesy with you. Just because I aim to please you, that's what makes me head over heels for your perfect heart. I got sidetracked by a healthy choice. That wasn't necessarily what I was looking for originally. Nothing stops me hunting you down, 'cause you love this clown. Though I treat you with contempt and block you more times than you can count. Still I keep on coming back to you, 'cause no matter how I lie to myself, I can't live without you. It's impossible for me to ever get enough of you. I'm only satisfied when I'm looking at you. Still a fool for your heart, even if we never fool around or mingle the contents of our gene pools. Do you get your fuel from coffee beans like me? Even though you're haughty and a little bit naughty, I still convince myself deep down a nice girl lies beneath that skin. Is that why I get so excited about you, trying to change you, or is it your wild side that keeps pulling me back into you? Flattery will get you nowhere but a date with an electric chair. I can feel the sulphur surrounding me, smell its pungent stench as I become drenched in its clinging depression, bringing odour. Why has she got me weak as a kitten? I should be twice as shy, having been once bitten. I guess I'm just a fool for love. Don't cheapen it by calling it lust, even though the only thing I know about her is that I prefer her booty and bust to any other woman on earth. I'm shallow like that. I want her most desperately. That coolie cat walking down my alley. Yeah, she's my cup of tea. I wonder why I find her so addictive. What is it about a woman who has never said one word to me face to face, not even on a video, that makes me want to embrace her so desperately? What is it about her that fascinates me so much? Is it the fact she testifies to God, working a miracle in her life, and appears to have similar beliefs to mine regarding what is appropriate behavior regarding our sexual proclivities? Although she may indulge in some activities I find unsavory, I care less about that than the fact that she is willing to go out on a date with me. It's true what my homie said, I will chase after any woman with legs, but I prefer the brown kind of woman to the pink, although I'd basically go for any woman with a pulse. I wouldn't want to disappoint my parents or revolt them with my choices based solely on erotic impulses. Am I attracted to contempt, to being treated like a piece of dirt between her toenails, just a clip and she is ripping off her cuticles and leaving on the floor? Why am I in so much awe of her just 'cause she raps and pulls it off like a pro when she's never even been in a recording studio? It's not just natural 'cause of the color of her skin, 'cause plenty of folks who share the same color as her have no inclination or pretensions about being a recording artist. Neither does she, but she makes it look so effortless. If she's lip syncing, she's sure got me tricked. So closely matched is her mouthing of the words to the rate at which the sound of the voice of the original recording artist emerges from the speaker that you can barely detect the difference. I felt like suing her and wooing her in equal measures, though in truth she never promised me anything she didn't deliver. And she's treated me with far more compassion than a lot of girls who I won't mention, 'cause I don't want to dwell on bitterness. I'd rather focus on her gorgeousness instead. Going to church doesn't make you act like a Christian 7 days a week or even 6. It just equips you in your fight if you are able to articulate your struggles. If you have someone in your life to help you navigate all the ups and downs on the roller coaster ride of relationships, full of loop-de-loops. How low do I have to swoop into the ocean of blues? Wish I could scoop you up and stick you on my shoulders. Is this just the result of growing older with no one to share my bed? On the honeymoon night after we wed, I will make sure you will always get well fed. I don't care if you get chunky. In fact, I prefer it. If you were a little more chubby, I'd be loving it. 'Cause I'm digging on your bubble, honey. It melts away what troubles me. I can fool some people about who I am, but you know who I am truly, and you still love me without judging me. I fear telling you that I wrestled with sexual confusion, 'cause I see the way you react when chicks try to get you twisted around their pinky and make you linger by their side for a loving experience you just can't let slide. I can lie to myself that all memories of sin are washed away with the morning tide, but still I can't rid myself of these suicidal tendencies clinging to my conscience. I can't convincingly connive myself into thinking I don't have anybody's whatsoever. It's just turning strangers into friends. It's always been a delicate and precarious art for me. seeing as it's so easy to scare girls and cause them to run away from me if they see I am serious about having a long-term relationship for them. After only having known them for a minute or less, I can feel my head caving in from the pressure to perform to the standards of society. It's not that I want to be it. I've got nothing to cover up and hide about me. They may say I do protest too much to the judge and jury, but I am the executioner of my decisions, and I know what inspires and motivates me. It has nothing to do with the kind of attraction that makes folks seek a pot of gold lying at the end of a rainbow, and it will never be so. Though I may occasionally mistake a chick for a dude and vice versa, it doesn't mean I have feelings for them just because I am fooled by cosmetic surgery or a little bit of makeup smeared on lips or cheekbones. I do not fear articulating what makes me feel less than comfortable, though I cringe with embarrassment to think how little attention I pay to Adam's apples or the lack thereof. That they give away what I like to refer to as God's fail-safe method to ensure nobody enters or leaves this life without knowing the way He created them to be, regardless of the lies the enemy tells you about yourself. I know with the help of Jesus I can become a better conversationalist. Sometimes it seems like I'm walking on I'm waiting my turn and it's never gonna come. Running out of patience as I hop amongst the ferns, frozen in time, watching the motion of all the world spinning around me, simultaneously inside it and out of it, a world away from the scene I'm currently viewing, spewing at the thought I could be there with you if only I had control of my passport. But there's probably a good reason it's being kept from me, so I don't accidentally on purpose get a woman pregnant before we have sung Here Comes the Bride, which I wouldn't wish on anybody. I want our baby to have high self-esteem, not low. I want to be around to watch him or her grow up from kid to adult. I don't want to be that dump and run kind of dude, imitating pandas, eating roots and leaving you to deal with all the diapers and feeding. Without my financial contribution or physical presence to guarantee a happy life for us, if our hearts are centered on the cross, there are some ideas I sleep on and I still wake up in the morning set on the notion to plunge myself into the ocean of your affection. Could I honestly say if I died tonight I'd go to heaven, not hell? If my eternal destination was determined by a sin I didn't quite repent of thoroughly enough, as is my understanding, has my forward and right hand got that 777 branding? Will grace get me through the door when I disobey the law? Not the ones the land makes up, but those penned by the almighty hands of our ever compassionate God. I don't want to have a bad relationship with Him by choosing one with you. Can I have both? Might He be pleased with me regardless of what I say or do? Yet the lies of the Israelites shows me how disobedience disconnects us from you. Peace out.